keeping you company this Ramadan.
Centio is an ethically based asset manager that is focused on delivering superior risk-adjusted returns for their clients regardless of market conditions. For more information on their Sharia investment products, visit their website, which is www.centio-capital.com. That's www.centio-capital.com, and start saving towards your investment goals today. Centio Capital Management, invest for good. Centio Capital Management is an authorized financial services provider. 18 after 12, exactly. Welcome back. This is the Mid-Morning Show with me, Julie Ali, and we have a very important interview next with Magdalene Moonsamy. She is obviously an attorney, and we're looking at the issue around sexual harassment in the workplace. Now, unfortunately, it's become commonplace in South Africa, as is the case elsewhere in the world. An international study that investigated the prevalence of sexual harassment at workplace points says that although it affects both men and women, most reported incidents portray women as more prone to men. So, Assalamu alaikum to you, Magdalene Moonsamy. Welcome to the program.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Ramadan Mubarak, Julie, and thank you to the listeners and the viewers.
Thank you indeed. Ramadan Mubarak to you as well. And I'm actually quite concerned that this has been a topic for a long, long time. People have been making lots of noises about sexual harassment, and it also ties in, for me, ties in directly with GBV. Why is it that not only us in South Africa, but all around the world, that it's still not getting as much attention, possibly even priority as it ought to get? Women are still being harassed in the workplace.
Thank you so much, Julie. Shukran. I think the first thing is that the reason it doesn't get attention, it is because it has become normalized. It is almost as if the environment in workplaces force women, for purposes of progression, to allow themselves to be subjected to this form of humiliation in the interest of there being a career development. And so as a result of that, what you find is that many women then just bypass it. And it becomes something that is acceptable insofar as what is the traditional culture. The problem, Julie, is that many environments need to have a sexual harassment policy in the workplace, or implement then the Protection Against Harassment Act as part of the employment strategies and procedures and policies, so that it does not become a normalized thing. Oh, you look so good today, and then tomorrow it's another a little gesture, until it reaches a point when the person becomes uncomfortable. And in many instances, it is assumed that there has been a pattern. This woman has not complained in the first instance. She hasn't had, but when she becomes uncomfortable, then it is seen as her becoming vengeful or upset or angry or wanting to take up an issue, when this is not the instance.
Okay, Magdalene, let me just stop you there. Just check if there isn't something blocking your mic. We can't hear you very well. Your mic on the phone. Nothing.
No, there's nothing blocking my mic.
No paperwork or anything in front of the phone. No.
No.
Okay. Not sure. Are we good? All right, fine. Let's just proceed with the interview. I do apologize for that.
Okay.
Let me ask you this question then, Magdalene. What about, someone, the perpetrator, accusing the woman of having colluded all along, and now all of a sudden she's backtracking. She's led him on, or she was good, all along it was never a problem, but something's not worked out, and now she is pointing fingers and suggesting that he's harassing her. How do you respond to that? And that look, in all fairness, could be a reality. That can and does happen.
Look, in most instances, and let me go back to my previous point. Can you hear me better, Julie?
No, the mic is very, very bad. Let's try and get you on another line. So I'm going to ask you to stand by. We're going to take an ad break and we'll try and get you back, even if it means just telephonically. We do apologize.
Or you can send the stream to me via email and I can work from my laptop.
Okay, it's 22 after 12, and I'm afraid we're not going to have too much time. Let's see what happens. We're going to try and reconnect with you. 12:23 exactly. Let's go for an ad break. We'll try and hook up with Magdalene Moonsamy yet in a minute or two to talk about this very, very pertinent issue.
What's wrong with this? I can't understand what's wrong.
Our team of ulama have identified people who zakat can be given to, and we ensure that funds and goods are distributed in the right hands. Our zakat projects cover education, food, security, orphan support, medical supplies, and refugee assistance. Your zakat can help.
It was very poor. It was crackling a lot. And now we're also running out of time. So what are we going to do?
Should we get on the line on the phone?
I think so. The line was very bad. It was crackling a lot.
So should we suggesting the laptop? Should we do a telephone?
No, let's just do a telephone. We don't have time. Till we
for latest updates and to donate on
until around 12:40.
Why don't you loosen your belt a little?
Why now?
Okay, and then I'm going to run over a little.
Yeah, just
Okay.
How do you, this is only a start. I need to tighten up a bit more. Funds are tight and the cost of living is high.
Funds are not tight. It's your haram insurance which is tightening our budget.
Okay, Haju. I will call my insurance friend tomorrow.
Maybe I must tighten up on my cooking from now on too.
No, Haju. You don't need to tighten up. It's okay. Look, I'm even throwing away my belt.
Don't tighten your belt. Change your insurance. Leaving Riba Insurance is easier than you'd think. Call Amana IFS for all your personal and commercial takaful needs. 0861 786 393. Amana, leave Riba for good. Amana IFS is a registered financial services provider.
Imagine the joy of receiving the meal for suhoor or iftar.
Africa.
This Ramadan, join Africa Muslims Agency to provide meals to the fasting for 100 Rand a day, a food hamper for 1,500 Rand, or feed a village for 15,000 Rand per day. Imagine if you could earn Allah's forgiveness in these 10 days through your acts of charity. Donate today. Call AMA on 011-834-8685 or donate online. Africa Muslims Agency, commemorating 35 years of empowering, educating, inspiring.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education, from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
Give charity without delay, for it stands in the way of calamities. For child-headed households in Bloemendal in the Eastern Cape, the daily diet consists of white bread and a carton of cheap juice or sugar water, known locally as the poppy water diet. Make a difference to that one child or family. The Al-Fida Foundation has over the past 13 years worked on the ground and gathered the largest database in the Eastern Cape region of Muslim zakah recipients. Phone our offices at 041-484-1288 or visit our website at www.alfida.co.za. The Al-Fida Foundation, your social investment partner in the Eastern Cape.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
It is exactly 12:27 exactly. We are talking with Magdalene Moonsamy. She is an attorney and she's talking to us about a very, very important issue that is, of course, sexual harassment in the workplace. We do apologize. The line was very, very bad just now. We have about 12 minutes left with this interview, so we're going to try and pack in as much as we can. Magdalene, welcome back. Can you hear me loudly and clearly? And let me just jump in at the deep end. Let's look at a couple of pieces of legislation or acts that are in place here in South Africa. Let's see how that can protect women, their rights against harassment and sexual harassment, particularly, and also GBV. Number one, the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Number two, the Labor Relations Act. Number three, the Protection from Harassment Act. And number four, the Employment Equity Act. So how do you respond to all of those acts regarding being harassed in the workplace?
Thank you so much, Judy, for having me back. I want to get back to the first question we spoke about earlier in terms of workplace progression and growth and development. What you find in many instances, just to answer your earlier question, is that a person, a woman, will come into work and the first gesture might be, "Oh, you look good," or etc., etc., until she reaches a point of discomfort. And then she expresses her discomfort or decides to draw a boundary line. And when she does that, it's seemingly perceived that she's been accepting my gestures all along. Now, this has become a normalized practice. And what we find in terms of these acts, including that of the Code of Good Practice on handling sexual harassment cases in the workplace, as well as the Protection Against Harassment Act, is that the important thing to consider is that these policies and acts must be compliant with in terms of training and understanding of what the limitations and boundaries are. Now, what you will know in terms of the Employment Section 60, subsection 2 of the Employment Equity Act is if a sexual harassment incident is alleged at work, the employer consult relevant parties to take steps to implement this conduct. And what you will find in most private sector, where there is sexual harassment at the higher echelon, they would then not investigate the matter, but rather protect the executive by giving a settlement or a golden handshake for him to leave, and then obviously causing for prejudice or discrimination against the person against whom such sexual harassment has been made. And this has been a common practice in the private sector, in one of the most hidden aspects of female progression, that you have to be compliant with your superior, who in many instances are male, or in the instance of the female.
Sorry, Magdalene. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear
Hello?
you.
All right, this line is really, really very, very bad. I do apologize. Let's leave the interview for today. It's too important a discussion for us not to do it in full. Let's see if we can hook up with you either tomorrow or next week on my show again. We definitely have to do this, and I do apologize. I'm just not sure what's happening with the line. We can barely hear you on our side, and there's a lot of crackling on the phone. So my apologies, but will you join us again as soon as possible? We will let you know when.
Yes, I'm in a trial Friday, going on to next week, Friday. So if it can be done tomorrow my availability is
okay. I will let the producer make contact with you after the show. I do apologize, but we definitely need to reconnect with Magdalene Moonsamy to talk about the law or understanding the law on sexual harassment in the workplace. She's an attorney. She's also a women's rights activist. And she will be giving us deep insight into this matter. And of course, as I spoke to her in my opening question, and that was sexual harassment talks directly to GBV. That's my opinion anyway. But we will reconnect with her hopefully tomorrow or sometime next week. It is exactly 12:32. This is the Mid-Morning Talk with me, Julie Ali.